to say he sucks, he's still in the top 15 in the UFC. That's the thing. Like, what are we saying? What are we saying when we're saying these fighters suck, but they're still in the top 15 rankings in the UFC? People were like, oh, these fighters, the Bellator fighters suck, or the PFL fighters suck. Look, I know we have this conversation all the time. You guys, they don't suck. If they suck, the UFC wouldn't want them.
Hello.
So like that's the thing. Like if they suck, the UFC wouldn't want them. And they're not hype trained. They actually see potential in them to build on them. Aaron Pico came over with a pretty damn good contract, and they tried to streamline him right to the top right away. We've always said give him a fight. You know, I give him a little bit a fighter a little bit down the rankings. But I also was like, hey, the only fighter I wanted to see him fight in the upper rankings was Evolov, because stylistically I thought he matched up perfectly for them. These other guys, all of them are extremely dangerous for him. Extremely dangerous. I'm not taking anything away from anyone in that division. They are all phenomenal fighters. They're all phenomenal, every single one of them. But because you have Patchy, who didn't have success, but took the fight on short notice and just didn't perform. Aaron coming out was looking good, got caught. He's got to make some adjustments. There's no doubt about that. But you have success stories though that people want to overlook. Kayla Harrison, success story. RDR, success story. Maybe they're not from PFL or well, she is.
Venom Page.
Venom
Page. How many times did you hear Venom Page? Oh, wait till he gets to the UFC. No, he's doing very well.
Well, here's the other thing though, John, is that Kayla Harrison's the champion. That's one. She's from the PFL.
Yep.
MVP is in the top 10 rankings, I think now. Okay, or 15. He's definitely in the top 15, but I think he's top 10 because he just beat Cannonier. He's number 8 or 9, somewhere in there. So he can't suck that bad. And he's 38 years old.
I know.
That's the thing. He came over late.
You know his next opponent.
And does he have his opponent now?
Yep.
Is that official?
That's what I was told.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was official yet. But yeah, there's that. And then the Patricio, he's still in the top 15.
But Patricio,
he's older. But John, to say
towards the end of his career.
To say he sucks, he's still in the top 15 in the UFC. That's the thing. Like, what are we saying? What are we saying when we're saying these fighters suck, but they're still in the top 15 rankings in the UFC?
People aren't saying they suck. People are saying they don't stand in the same level as these top UFC guys, and I don't think that's a like unreasonable comment to make.
It's okay. It's not an unreasonable comment, but like I've said, like there's so many things that come along with this. Let's not forget. Like, and I use Chuck Liddell as an example, and Chuck's a friend of mine. Chuck went to Pride. People forgot he fought Guy Metzger before he fought Alistair Overeem. He got dropped in that fight, almost got knocked out. And so and he was able to get it, like basically he exhausted himself and got knocked out. He was winning. Guy was, I'd say, winning that fight. And then the Alistair fight. Alistair was kind of winning that fight too. It had Truck in trouble. And then he came back and finished him.
But Josh, Patchy Mix, for example, right? Yeah. If he doesn't come in and perform, you can claim jitters in that first fight and all that, short notice, whatever. But if he doesn't come in and perform at like the elite level that you say he's at, like, where does your opinion stand in that? Because you were the one saying a year ago or so, like he's the best bantamweight in the world, even better than UFC guys. So, like, I feel like that's a hard position to take when he comes in and does what he does.
Yeah, but
it's not a hard position to take when you know. First off, who is the champion at the time of
there you go.
The UFC? Okay.
So Aljamain Sterling was the champion at the time.
And you knew of them training together exactly what was happening. So there was things that told you, hey, he's of that level. It doesn't mean he's going to beat him in the fight. You can never, you sit there and you try to say, 50% of the people are going to think one person's going to win, 50% are going to think the other one's going to win. But
he came over and didn't even fight the champ, and then he still had like a horrible showing.
Yeah, but Dave, the thing is that, and no way am I justifying his performance. Took the fight on short notice, should have never taken it. Like because then now you can't use that as an excuse. You can't say, "Oh, I took it on 10 days or 15 days." No, right. You're always training. You should be ready to fight. Doesn't matter if it's on the feet or on the ground. So no one's making excuses for him. I'm simply saying. When I was saying those things about him, being one of the best guys, stylistically, I felt like he could beat an Aljo. He has all the tools to beat an Aljo. Aljo has all the tools to beat him. That's what the best fighters do.
That's right.
Also, Merab. Stylistically, Merab's a great style for him to fight. Those were the number 1 and number 2 guys. So if I'm saying that, it's because about those guys. Those are the top. That's the number one. That's one's the champion. The other guy's number two. So those guys, absolutely, I think Patchy could hang with them or be with them and fight with them and probably either beat them or let's go 50-50 or 60-40, whichever way you want. And then you get into guys like Umar, he's going to have a lot more problems with.
But but also bring up, let's be honest, Umar will tell you who's his best sparring partner, who's the guy that gives him the most trouble and he likes to train with.
Was Patchy
Mix. Okay, so
again,
all these things are telling you
yeah.
exactly what level the guy's at. Did he have a bad performance? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But that happens.
So then is there an argument to be made, right? Like you look at some of these guys we talked about and they come over and some of these guys work their way up and then they have a good showing because they didn't start so high. So is there something to be said maybe that they shouldn't just come over with all this hype. They should come over and just get their feet wet. Because Josh, you did the same thing when you went to Bellator. You went from UFC to Bellator, and I remember you saying like you took a couple of fights to get your feet wet in the new promotion because you get the new promotion jitters and all that. But so is there something to be, because the Riddler's an example for that, right? He came over, fought Mearshart, fought Kevin Holland, both unranked guys, fought Bo Nickel, who I think's in like not top 5 but top 10. And then now he's fighting Fluffy, and then that'll be the title fight. So like you could say that's a success story there, given that he came over, didn't jump right in the top.
You could say the same thing about Kayla Harrison, right? She fought Holly Holm. Holly was getting older, and stylistically that was a good matchup for her.
I think you could argue depth of the females.
Yeah, you could. You definitely could. Absolutely. But we're gonna find out, right? I mean, she's had 3 fights now, and and she looked great. Look, Amanda Nunes lost to who was the one she just fought for the title? Juliana Pena. She lost to her and then beat her, but Kayla beat her. Beat her convincingly. And so
a perfect example of what you're talking about, Dave, is Joaquin Buckley. Okay. Joaquin Buckley, fought in Bellator, goes to the UFC. His first fight was against Kevin Holland, and he lost. Okay. He was a last second replacement, and he lost the fight. I can't remember how, but I know he lost the fight. But then he had his next fight. It was all during COVID stuff. And he fights Impa Kasanganay. And he comes up with one of the most spectacular knockouts on a jumping, spinning kick while his leg's being held. And he gets the win. And then he goes and he fights Jordan Wright. And he fights Jordan Wright and he gets a win. And then he fights, I'm trying to remember the next one, but he lost it. I can't remember the guy's name, but he loses that fight. But all of a sudden, then he goes on this massive winning streak, where he's not massive, a couple, and then he finally fights Imavov and he loses again. But here's a guy that keeps building, and then they stick that one that's a top guy to see what, and he ends up losing. And that's the same thing that just happened with his fight against Kamaru Usman. But he's been climbing consistently throughout the UFC ranks to what's he ranked now? Is he ranked 7th? Something like that.
They're all work in progresses, John. Like, it doesn't matter what organization you come from, right? You've got to prove yourself. It's very difficult. Yeah. It's very difficult no matter where you come from. Look, I'm not here to sit here and sugarcoat the whole situation. It's for the fighters, it sucks for them. It really does, but they've got their work cut out to do. It doesn't matter if they fought over in Ryzen. They have the same shit. They have to work it. They have to work through it there. When I went to Bellator, I had the conversation with Coker. I said, hey, I'm coming off 3 losses. I'd never lost 3 in a row. And I just was like, man, like this is horrible. Like I've never lost 2 in a row. I don't think. Can't remember. Yeah, I never lost 2 in a row. And so it just was that feeling of, man, I got to get a win. And once I got a win, then it rolled and it kind of kept going. It felt good from there. But it's a confidence thing. So with Pico, he's going to have to figure it out, man. He's got to make a couple little tweaks. He's going to have to reinvent his game. He's fucking phenomenal. He's a phenomenal fighter, a great person, easy to market. And if you have a kid, that's someone that you would be like, hey, I'm cool. I would love to have my son look up to someone like that as an athlete, right? I mean, that's something you could take and you'd be like, hey, that's a great role model for kids.